Hi, this video's a short one this week. This is just the Valance how-to. Unfortunately, I've contracted a case of COVID and I won't be finishing any more videos until I'm feeling better. So this is just a quick how-to that was made earlier on in the week before I got sick. These are the curtains that I made in the previous video, and then this is just the quick how-to of how I made the Valances. Basically, the first thing you need to do is measure your window opening, and then you need to measure, I've used 12 inches either side of the window opening. That's how much room I have to fit my curtains once they're open. So I've taken my measurements, added them all together, so we have two 12s for each side of the window and then the window opening, and that's how wide we need to make the valance. So 66 was the window opening, and then obviously 12 on each side. So I picked up 6 panels of white foam board, and I've cut it into a 10-inch drop with a fold of 2 inches. And like with cardboard, when you cut the paper layer of this board, it will fold and hold the fold because it's got that paper layer. If you can see what I mean, it keeps it all in one piece. So that's what I've done. I've made 3 panels of that to add up to the amount that I need for my window opening. So I'm doing this in 3 panels. I've cut my 3 panels. The top of the panel is where I have my folded 2 inches. So the actual valance will be 10 inches, and the 2-inch fold on top is what will attach to the ceiling. So I've cut my batten material, which is the white one, and I've made it a little bit bigger than the board, and I've stuck that on. And then I take my material and cover the same board. This leaves me 3 covered pieces of board, and then when I join them together I have 2 joins in the middle, and then what I'll do at the end is I will cover those joins with the trim. I'm going to lay them all face down and then reinforce the back with some foam core so it's one continuous piece of valance. Materials on. I stuck the material on when the board was folded so it will lay flat against the wall. I then turn it over and reinforce the back pieces. That's just another big piece of foam board with lots of glue. And then once it's turned over, you can see I've got nice clean joins. And you won't see these once the trim goes on, and I'll put a piece of trim around the bottom, and you really won't notice that this is not intentional. Now this next step is not 100% necessary, but in my case you can see the back of this valance through the big window at the front, so I just took a contrasting piece of material and stuck that over all the workings at the back so it looks better from the outside. This next step is just to make sure that you have enough trim to cover the areas that you need to. So I made 2 valances. It was the one for the big window and one for the smaller window, so I needed enough trim to do all the joins and wrap each valance. This is the 2-inch piece that we cut and folded to begin with. I've added a piece of reinforcing wood to that. It's a very lightweight piece of wood, and that is what will attach to the ceiling. I then made a panel for each side and covered that with the fabric. This little cutout is just a little pieces of wood that we have on our walls. You won't need to do this. This is literally just to cover the end panels. I picked up 4 brackets from the hardware store and installed them the width of the foam core and the little piece of wood that will slide into that space, and then literally just slide it in. Measure it so that you're centered to the center of the window, and you've got the same amount of overage on each side, and then you can slide it into the space that you have left between the bracket and the ceiling. You don't need to put anything else on. You won't have to glue it, you won't have to, that will just hold it. So this is a cheap and cheerful fix. Obviously I was using scraps of fabric. If you're doing this, you've got more fabric than me, hopefully. You can make them in any shape. I kept them very simple because of the amount of fabric that I had, and you can see at the end panels, all I did was I glued those in place and then put a spot of glue to hold them to the wall, and that keeps everything flat. Again, this is made out of foam core and scraps of material. It is not a long-term fix, not that it would ever come down if I didn't take it down. It's there for, you know, as long as I want it to be, but you would never know that it was made from foam core. So it was cheap, it was cheerful, and perfect if you're renting, or perfect if you just want to try it out and see how it goes. It doesn't cost you a fortune if you mess it up or you don't like the look of it.